As a personal trainer, one of the most common things I hear is people want to lose weight. Quite often people have a specific weight in mind, a certain amount of weight they'd like to lose or a certain amount of weight they'd like to be. Quite often this is from a leaner time, many years ago, or based on what they think they should be. I will oftentimes ask people, why do you want to be this specific weight? Usually they associate that weight with a certain look or a certain feeling. But achieving a certain weight doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be able to perform a certain way or feel or look a certain way. One thing I always say to people when they're trying to lose weight is, what weight are you trying to lose? Are you trying to lose water weight? Are you trying to lose muscle? Or are you trying to lose body fat? 99% of the time people are trying to lose body fat. And if you're trying to stay as healthy as possible, no one wants to lose muscle. And staying well hydrated is always going to be optimal for your health. So when most people say they want to lose weight, what they're actually saying is they want to lose fat. Now when most people are trying to lose fat, normal scales aren't going to show you how much fat you're losing. They can show you your weight, but not fat. If you lose 1 kilo on the scales, you have to ask yourself, is that water, is that body fat, or is that muscle? For long-term health, we want to keep as much muscle as possible, decrease your body fat down to an ideal or an athletic body type. And what that means is that if you want to track your body fat reduction, you're going to need a slightly different tool to help you track it. Number one, when it comes to tracking your fat or your weight loss, you want to take a before picture. The before picture is going to give you the best idea of what's happening to your body over a period of time. Say you take a picture every 4 to 6 weeks. If you're sticking to a calorie deficit and being more active, you'll probably start to see some changes happening. So you'll be able to see in your before and after picture the changes that you've made. Another great idea for tracking fat loss is to use a body fat scale. These scales can usually give you a pretty rough idea of what your current body fat level is. And it gives you something to go off weekly to see what are you losing. For instance, if you lose 500 grams of weight, you want to know what that weight is. Did you lose 200 body fat and 300 muscle? Or was it 400 grams body fat and 100 grams muscle? The ratios really do matter. Your percentage of body fat is more important than the total weight, as every person has a different weight, as every person weighs slightly different and is different heights. So for instance, 10% body fat of a 100 kilo male would be 10 kilos, but 10% body fat of a 70 kilo male would be 7 kilos. Both are 10% and have relatively the exact same amount of body fat in proportion to their total weight. So working off percentages can give you a much better idea of the body fat that you're actually losing. The last thing you want to do is lose a whole load of muscle and minimize any reductions in body fat. Remember, it's possible to gain muscle whilst losing fat. So if your weight is staying the same, but you're gaining muscle and losing fat, what will probably happen is you're losing inches. Most people aren't too worried about the weight, it's more the inches they want to lose. If you see you're losing inches around your waist, but your weight is staying the same, you're probably putting on muscle and losing body fat. That's also where a handy before picture comes in, that you can start to see how your body is changing. So with this in mind, here's 20 quick reasons why you might not be losing weight as fast as you expected. Number one, maybe you're losing weight without realizing it. Quite often people hit a plateau where they're not losing any more weight for a few weeks. They see the scale stay the same, so therefore they don't think they've changed. What can oftentimes happen in a plateau is that you might be increasing in muscle mass and decreasing in body fat. So if you gain 1 kilo muscle and decrease 1 kilo body fat, your weight will stay the same, but you would have reduced body fat. One of the other best ways to track your fat loss is to do a waist and hip measurement. This will give you a great indication if you're losing body fat or if you're gaining. You can also do the same thing with muscles. If you see the size of your muscles going up, but your weight isn't going up, you're probably reducing body fat and increasing muscle. It's also very common for people to have plateaus if their training has become stagnant. Try and vary the amount of training by either increasing the repetition, by increasing the volume or the amount of training, or the hours doing training. Number two, you're not keeping a track of what you're eating. Awareness of what you're eating is super important when it comes to weight loss. Quite often, those people that aren't aware of what they're eating or tracking what they're eating may be eating more calories than their body needs, or eating maintenance so their body weight will stay the same. To lose weight or body fat, we need to be in a calorie deficit. Depending on your activity level will also depend on the amount of calories you need to consume to be in a calorie deficit. For someone that's burning 3,000 or 4,000 calories a day and is very active, but also eats 3,000 or 4,000 calories a day, they will stay the same weight. Whereas if you're eating 2,000 calories and burning 3,000, then you're going to be in a big calorie deficit. So start tracking or being aware of what foods you're eating and how many calories are in them. Number 3, you're not eating enough protein. Protein is a super important nutrient for losing weight. Eating protein at 25 to 30% of your daily calories can really boost your metabolism. Not to mention help to recover post-workouts and help maintain your muscle mass that you currently have, or help to repair your muscles and grow them stronger after workouts. If you're not sure how much protein you need, times your weight in kilos via 1.4 for an average person, or 2.2 grams for a more advanced or experienced person. That's 1.4 grams of protein per kilo of weight, or for the more advanced, 2.2 grams of protein per kilo of weight. This will really help to maximize your protein synthesis and the recovery of your muscles after workouts. Number 4, you're eating too many calories. It seems simple, but so often this is the case. If you're not losing weight, you're probably eating too many calories. If you're eating too many calories, think about reducing them by either 100 to 200 or maybe even 300 calories a day. Usually that will start to get the ball rolling on some weight loss. Most people tend to underestimate the amount of calories that they consume in a day. So if you're not too sure, download a calorie calculator and that will give you a really specific idea of how many calories you're consuming each day. You might find that you're consuming a couple of extra 100 calories each day. Some of the most common extra calories are things like oil with cooking, milk and sugars in tea or coffee, sauces in cooking or sandwiches, as well as those little snacks that we sometimes forget about. Number 5, you're not eating enough whole foods. Food quality is just as important as food quantity. Whole foods can regulate appetite and tend to be a lot more filling than highly processed foods. Number 6, you're not lifting enough weight. One of the most important things you can do when trying to lose weight is resistance training. Anything from bodyweight push-ups, squats and lunges to lifting weights or using machines in a gym. Lifting weights can help prevent metabolic slowdown, which is how many calories you burn. Lifting weights can help maintain your muscles whilst reducing weight and also minimize any metabolic slowdown. In a calorie deficit, muscle mass is usually burnt along with body fat. So to help minimize or stop that, get doing some resistance training. Number 7, you're binge eating. We've all been there, maybe on an evening or a Saturday night. You consume way too many calories in too short a space of time. Generally when people binge eat, they don't binge eat healthy foods. You're not stuffing as much broccoli and kale as you can. Generally most people binge on highly processed, high calorie foods, most often high in sugars and high in fats. So if you're trying to lose weight, minimize those binges or try and add in more healthier options of fruits or vegetables. These are going to be a lot lower in calories and minimize the calorie intake of your day. Number 8, you're not doing any cardio. Cardiovascular exercises generally increase the heart rate for a prolonged period of time. This could be simple exercises like jogging, cycling or swimming. You can also include walking to improve your activity levels. These are a great way to burn extra calories in a short space of time. Number 9, you're still drinking sugar. Things like Coca-Cola or energy drinks are going to have liquid calories in them. Quite often people forget there can be huge amounts of calories in sugary drinks. As well as more perceived healthier options like fruit juices also have a large amount of sugar and calories in them. This also goes the same for alcohol. Most beers might have something like 200 to 250 calories per pint. So if you go out and have a few pints, you can see how you can really bump up your calories that you've consumed in just one night out. Number 10, you're not sleeping enough. Studies have shown that poor sleep or lack of sleep is one of the single biggest indicators of obesity. Adults and children that have poor sleep are 55 and 89% more likely to become obese in the future. So make sure you get somewhere between 7 to 9 hours. It's individual to each person, but most studies suggest getting 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep. Number 11, you're consuming too many carbohydrates. When we say carbohydrates, we also mean high sugar and also high carbohydrates from foods, things like pastas, pastries, doughs, breads, and potatoes. Quite often it's the highly processed foods that will really bump up your carbohydrate levels. As we mentioned earlier, you want to have a good amount of protein and fats and carbohydrates. If you're consuming too many carbohydrates, that will probably mean you're consuming too little of proteins or fats. So make sure to keep your carbohydrate levels to a minimum and bump up that protein. Number 12, you're eating too often. It's a little bit of a myth that everyone should be eating lots of small meals throughout the day to boost their metabolism. Multiple studies have shown that meal frequency has little to no effect when it comes to fat loss, and it's also quite inconvenient having to eat 6 to 7 little meals throughout the day. But on the other hand, intermittent fasting, which means going without food for 16 to 20 or 24 hours throughout the day, has shown incredible benefits with weight loss. I'd recommend somewhere between 2 and 3 meals a day. Number 13, you're not drinking enough water. Drinking water can hugely benefit weight loss. In a 12-week study, people that drank half a litre of water before each meal lost 44% more weight than those that didn't. Also, drinking more water has been shown to boost the amount of calories that you burn per hour. As much as 24 to 30% more calories burned over 1.5 hours. So if you want to burn extra calories doing nothing, drink more water. Number 14, you're drinking too much alcohol. If you like having a drink but want to lose weight, these two might not go hand in hand. Beer, wine, and sugary alcoholic beverages are super high in calories. In multiple studies, heavy drinking is associated with weight gain. Also, keep in mind that on average, alcohol is about 7 calories per gram, which is pretty high. Number 15, you're not eating mindfully. Mindful eating has been shown to really help people lose weight. It involves slowing down your eating and savouring your food. Enjoying each bite whilst also listening to your body to feel when it's had enough. Numerous studies have shown that mindful eating can cause significant weight loss and can help reduce the frequency of binge eating. If you want to be a mindful eater, sit down at your table with 0 distractions and just your food. Eat slowly and chew through your food in a savouring manner. Try to be aware of the colours, flavours and smells of the food. When you begin to feel full, drink some water and then stop eating. Number 16, you have a medical condition that's making weight loss a lot harder. Now, although this is rare, and in most cases it's one of the other things that we've talked about today that are causing the weight gain or the plateau in weight, there are some medical conditions that mean some people struggle when losing weight. Some conditions and some medication can really hinder your fat loss. Things like hypothyroidism and polycystic ovarian syndrome, as well as sleep apnea, are all examples of things that may cause you to gain weight or struggle losing weight. If you think any of these apply to you, speak to your doctor about your options going forward. 17, you have a junk food addiction. According to a 2014 study, 19% of North America and Europe have a junk food addiction. If you look back at your week and you find that you're eating a lot of junk food, one of the easiest things to do is to write out all those meals, then try and minimize or half the amount that you buy or go out to eat. For those people that have a junk food addiction, eating less or changing your diet can seem almost impossible. Try making tiny changes or swaps with meals, or try and build self-discipline with your nutrition by minimizing the amount of junk food you consume in a week or a month. Number 18, you've been dieting for too long. When we talk about long-term progress, we want to adjust your diet to make it something that you can achieve day in, day out, forever. The more minimal the changes, the more likely you are to adhere to that new style of eating. Swapping in one food every couple of weeks, or trying a new meal can be a great way to start to switch up your diet. It's not a good idea to be on a diet for too long. For most people, they think of diets as something that they do for a short period of time to achieve a result. But ultimately, in the long run, we want to create new, healthier habits that are more optimal for your body and fitness goals. If you've been cutting calories and changing your diet for a long period of time, maybe taking a break by 1 or 2 weeks can sometimes be all you need to reset that body. Or, rather than focusing on the weight, maybe try adjusting your goals. Maybe focusing on sleeping more, getting more protein in, or maybe lifting more weights. Focusing on performance-based results, like lifting more weight or doing more repetitions, is a great way to focus on long-term progress. If you've just lost a whole load of weight, try and maintain that weight for 1 to 2 months. Sometimes even maintaining your weight after a big reduction in weight is a big success. 19, your expectations are unrealistic. Weight loss is generally a slow process, and quite often most people lose patience before achieving their goal. Although it's often possible to lose a lot of weight at the beginning of a program, long-term weight loss won't be at the same rate. In the long term, it would be difficult to maintain a weight loss of 1 to 2 pounds per week consistently for multiple weeks. That's why focusing on some of these other areas like increasing protein, increasing strength, can really help maximize your fat loss. If it took you 15 years to put on, don't expect it to come off in 15 days. Slow progress is often better for the body, as the body can adapt at a much slower rate. Shocking the body can sometimes have an adverse effect and make it really difficult mentally to maintain your long-term progress. And number 20, you're too focused on dieting. Like we talked about earlier, going on a diet for a long period of time isn't effective for long-term weight loss. You may achieve quick results at the start, but long-term you're really going to struggle to maintain it. That's why at Lean 60 we're all about changing your habits and creating your new healthy nutrition program that you can follow for the rest of your life. Something that's healthy and maintainable but works for you. If you don't think you can maintain it for a year, then maybe it's not the right nutrition strategy for you. One thing we always say at Lean 60 is you want to focus on nourishing the body, not depriving it. Giving all the macro and micronutrients that are essential for the body to make it feel amazing and give you tons of energy. This, with a good daily activity level or good exercise regime, will allow your weight loss to flow naturally as a side effect. In conclusion, weight loss isn't always easy. There's numerous things that can bring it to a standstill. Just remember, when calorie intake is equal to or higher than calorie use, you're not going to lose weight. So make sure you're in a calorie deficit if you want to lose weight. Changing your weight is changing your lifestyle. It requires patience, perseverance, dedication and resilience. Not to mention the openness to learn new things. However long your weight loss journey, just remember, it doesn't matter about your total weight. You want to focus on body fat, how you feel and how you perform. Those markers of health are much more achievable in the long run. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video and you found something useful, and thank you for watching. See you again soon.